What's going on Twitter? I think this is on Twitter. I'm not sure. Wherever this is broadcasting. I just had to. I couldn't wait until next Monday to do a show about this. I wanted to talk about Donald Trump, the rally last night in Chicago, and how everything went down. It's a little. It's crazy. It's crazy that no one is concerned about this. No one thinks that the violence at the Donald Trump rallies was a problem until now, right? It's a shame that we have to wait until there's a full blown protest confrontation before people think that this was a problem. There's been a problem for a long time, even before Donald Trump. Even before Donald Trump, this was a problem, right? There has been a problem. The people who are violently attacking protesters at Donald Trump rallies and espousing racist, bigoted language and ideas, those people have been in the Republican Party and some in the Democratic Party for a very long time. This racism has been monopolized and capitalized and for political purposes for a very long time. I was listening to Marco Rubio this morning. Yes, exactly. Obamacare. They have ignored it for a very long time. And so it's coming back to bite them in the behind. I mean, my kids are in the other room. Otherwise, I would say it. But the amazing thing to me is that now it's a problem. You know, where's the outrage when they assaulted a young woman? When grown men assaulted a young woman, there was no outrage. Everyone said, oh, she shouldn't have came. No, it doesn't work like that. America doesn't work like that. If you are in public and you're saying something that you want to shout to the top of your lungs, we have a right to go and shout likewise. And we have the right to oppose somebody like Donald Trump right where he is. He represents the very worst of America. I will give him some credit for being politically astute enough to realize this was an opportunity for him to capitalize on, to take advantage of the bigotry that's been in the conservative movement for a very long time. I'll give him credit for that. But now enough is enough, right? Enough is enough, especially because instead of him doing the politically smart thing to do, he's doubling down on the bigotry and the hatred. So that's number one. I'm just like, if you're this morning is your first time being concerned about the violence at Donald Trump rallies, then where the hell have you been for the last 6 months? Because that's how he rose to power. That's how he got as far as he's gotten. That's number one. Number two is this idea, this surprise that I'm seeing from Hillary Clinton supporters that, oh goodness, this was Bernie Sanders supporters. Yeah, you're damn right. There were Bernie Sanders supporters out there and there were Black Lives Matter supporters out there. They're not mutually exclusive. There are people who are both Bernie Sanders supporters and Black Lives Matter supporters. Big surprise, right? You wouldn't think that because they do their very best to make it seem like Bernie Sanders supporters are only white bros. When in actuality, Bernie Sanders supporters, you could see last night, there were two groups there, to be sure. There were Black Lives Matter activists and there were Bernie Sanders supporters that were there. But if you look at the Bernie Sanders supporters, the people who are locked arm in arm, they were every race that you can imagine. Genders. I mean, it was a coalition of people who came from entirely different walks saying we're not going to put up with the Donald Trump bigotry in Chicago. And this morning, you get people on Twitter who are like, who paid Bernie Sanders supporters to take credit for it? No, Bernie Sanders supporters have been protesting Donald Trump. I don't know if you remember when Donald Trump came to New Hampshire several months ago, but Bernie Sanders supporters were in his rally protesting him right then and there. They're not waiting until the general election for them to say, okay, we're going to crush Trump in the general election. No, that is. Okay, whatever. Rick Alexander. Yeah, whatever. I got it all wrong. Trump wants to throw the bums out, whoever is. You know what? They have the right to be there and protest. And they have the right to be there and protest and be escorted out? Sure. But do they have, does that give Donald Trump and his minions the license to assault people? Clearly not. And that's what Donald Trump is fostering. But besides, I'm done with Donald Trump. Moving on. I want to talk about the fact that it's Hillary Clinton supporters who are now amazed that Bernie Sanders supporters were there and started to chant about Bernie Sanders. This is consistent with Feel the Burn. Feel the Burn has been protesting Donald Trump for a long time, longer than anybody else. I've seen Black Lives Matter protest them. And you know what? They're not mutually exclusive is the main thing I want to say. They try to make it seem like Black Lives Matter is mutually exclusive from Feel the Burn. That is not the case. You have a lot of black people, a lot of Black Lives Matter activists who identify with Feel the Burn and who are supporting Bernie Sanders. And you saw that last night. You saw an intersection between black activists and Black Lives Matter activists and Bernie Sanders supporters shut it down. There were more people there who supported Bernie Sanders and Black Lives Matter, according to one report, than who supported Donald Trump, and therefore they had to shut it down. Listen, this is how democracy works in terms of counter protest. That's how it works. You don't get a safe space. You don't get to say, this is my platform and I can say whatever I want to and run for the United States of America, the president of the United States of America, and not have people challenge you. It does not work like that. And I'm simply amazed that it's taken something like this for two things: for the media to finally say enough's enough with the violence, and then two, for Hillary Clinton supporters to finally say, oh, wait a minute. Maybe Black Lives Matter isn't mutually exclusive from Feel the Burn. Maybe there's some intersection. Maybe Donald Trump, maybe Bernie Sanders supporters protesting Donald Trump for the last 4 or 5 months have something in common with Black Lives Matter activists who've been protesting Donald Trump for the last few months. Maybe there are actually some Bernie Sanders supporters who are black. Maybe there are actually some Bernie Sanders supporters who are a part of Black Lives Matter. Maybe there's some Black Lives Matter activists who are actually a part of Feel the Burn. And they just can't wrap it around their heads because for the last 6 months, they've been pushing this narrative that Bernie Sanders and his supporters are all white men. No. That is not the case. You saw this in Chicago. And even though Chicago got ugly, it got ugly because you saw the intersection, the collision, rather, of opposing forces. But that is what America is. Does it have to include violence? No. But there has been violence at every single Donald Trump rally since Donald Trump has been holding rallies. And now, all of a sudden, now you want to get concerned because it is no longer in your favor. The tide is turning against conservatism. Now you want to get concerned, or now you want to get concerned because it was Bernie Sanders supporters out there in addition to Black Lives Matter. Now you're concerned. So it's this disingenuousness that's driving me insane, and it's coming from the left and the right. It's coming from, and when I say the left, I don't mean the real left. I mean Hillary Clinton supporters, and it's coming from the Republican Party. So I just wanted to share that I guess if there's any 3 main points that I said is, number one, if you're just now getting concerned, you're part of the problem, because violence has been at Donald Trump rallies since he started. Even if it's just been verbal violence, there has been violence since day one. Number two, there are commonalities and common interests between Bernie Sanders supporters and Black Lives Matter. Number three, Black Lives Matter and Bernie Sanders Feel the Burn is not mutually exclusive. There is a great intersection between the two, and Bernie Sanders supporters have been protesting Donald Trump for a long time. The question is, where the hell is Hillary Clinton supporters? You know where they are? They're waiting for a general election to try to fight Donald Trump in a general election so that they could run an identity politics campaign against them, which means their opposition to Donald Trump is political expediency. Because if they were genuinely concerned about this, they would attack it right now. They would not wait to some general election to bring up the stuff that they see at Donald Trump rallies. They would attack it right now, and they would be out there protesting it right now. All right, folks, that's all I've got for you today. I haven't used Periscope in a long time, and maybe we'll do this again sometime. All right, take it easy. Okay, actually, no, I see a good question here from Libra Lover, Love 95. She said, we're still looking for Clinton supporters to explain why they back her. Some good questions there. You know what? When we talk about Chicago, you can't talk about Chicago without talking about Rahm Emanuel. And that Rahm Emanuel has endorsed Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton has expressed her support for Rahm Emanuel. And a lot of the energy that you saw in Chicago last night is exactly the result of people who've been opposing Rahm Emanuel for the last, I don't know how many months. And so it is spillover. Why would they oppose Rahm Emanuel, who is in his own right a dictator, and not speak out against Donald Trump? They are two of the same. She's with Rahm, exactly. Hillary Clinton is with Rahm, and so this is why you see this energy coalescing around Black Lives Matter and Feel the Burn, because there are some common interests. There have always been common interests there. Two of the most powerful movements right now is Feel the Burn and Black Lives Matter, which is why there's a concerted effort to keep them separated. Yes, you have Bernie bros who don't understand how to talk about race, but damn it, you have black people who don't understand how to talk about race. Yes, there are some condescension that comes from Bernie bros, but damn it, there is some condescension that comes from Black Lives Matter and black people in general. But if everybody would recognize the energy and the potency that is underneath Black Lives Matter and those protesters, and not just Black Lives Matter as an organization, but people who go and protest underneath the banner of Black Lives Matter, in addition to Feel the Burn, which is really an extension of Occupy Wall Street, that movement is powerful. And that's what we saw last night. And did it get out of hand? Yeah, but why did it get out of hand? It got out of hand because you have Donald Trump rallies consistently have violence at them. If you look at last night and are like, oh my God, here's some violence, then you are intentionally obtuse and ignoring the fact that there has been violence since day one with Donald Trump. And that's the problem. So, I mean, we could talk on and on, but I just want to drop that. I didn't want to wait till Monday's show to talk about that. You guys have a great weekend. Somewhere I can stop this. There you go. All right.